Hey guys, I don't really know how this is gonna go, but it's time that I get this out there and done. Um, I'll start with saying that the main video that tells my story, I have recently clicked on it and I only listened to a little bit of it. And though my emotions still feel about the same, I've definitely calmed down. The amount of personal growth over the past couple of years is overwhelming. I'm definitely turning something bad into good. Um, I feel like all the cards are stacked against me, um, but I refuse to give up because my son is everything, and I gotta keep going for him just like I did that day. Um, I've been doing pretty good. Last summer, I did a therapy program called EMDR, eye movement. I'm sorry, I should have looked it up again. I couldn't explain to you how it works, but we've broke through so many um, triggers, and I don't get so angry anymore. It's weird. I really can't explain it. It's not that I'm over it. It's not that it's okay. It's not okay. But I'm coping. I'm really enjoying working again. Um, and I just look at the pains that working causes my injuries as, pushing through and not letting him win. I still get very angry that I'm hurting and he's not. Um, my scars everywhere are intense lately. Everything is so itchy and everything is waking up. All the nerves are trying to heal. My ear is just. Even this one, it didn't get near the amount of damage as this side, but. With all the scars in here, I think adding the stresses of life, I've been experiencing like this lockjaw going on. It's like my jaw is spasming shut, and I don't know if it's much to do with the scars or just other things. But anyway, my finger is not any better at all. It's very frustrating. I can, like, even in photos of myself, I can see that messed up finger. Anyway, these are all small things. We all have problems, right? We all have to get through. March 16th, we had a review board hearing for the assailant, Mr. Dallas Ritchie. And I've had a lot of people asking how that went because the day of, I was shocked at how much it threw me that this was happening. Yeah, it definitely threw me. I've been doing so well, and they started right at the beginning after this happened. Victim support would warn me about how, as time goes on, that you'll start to move on with your life, and then all of a sudden the review board will come up and you're digging at that wound again. And I was very upset when they would tell me this at the beginning, because I took it as they were trying to discourage me right from the start from being involved. And I still feel that way. I think some of the warnings were heartfelt, but that's the way it is. And now I can tell you this year it definitely was just that. You know, I was doing well with life, and I got the email the day before I had to go for family court. That was great. Um, so it threw me off for that, and then I had a week to write up an impact statement, and that was fun. Um, I take joy in writing, but it takes time and editing and to get things organized. But I had such little time, and I just didn't have the editing time that I'd like. So I submitted it out of frustration, and reading through it, I was quite disappointed because I would really like to have had time to edit more, but they decided to redact a paragraph. So this has me fired up and quite upset, and I don't do these videos for personal anything. I want you to understand what is going on in our world, and if this is happening to me, how many others are out there? This really eats at me. This really is happening, This guy nearly killed me, and he was let go 7 days later. And you know what? They call him. They talk like he's a victim, like poor him. The system needs to support this poor man. Yeah, they play him up like a victim and he needs help, but forget about the physical victims by his hand. We don't need help, not at all. So this paragraph that they've redacted was discussing about one of the witnesses that was in the house, but it wasn't me or my son. And I try to protect him at the same time as discussing the impact to me. I look after this boy still, and we still talk about it. I certainly don't bring it up, but his memories get triggered, and he'll come to me and ask questions or discuss something that he remembers. And, I get down on the floor and I do my best to comfort him and remind him that I'm okay and he's okay, and we don't need to see the bad guy. I try to be very careful there because they think that he's locked up, and I also try not to lie. So, but yeah, so I'm still impacted and helping this young man through what he recalls from this terrible day. But they redacted it because this is my impact statement, and I'm talking about somebody else, and this somebody else can't speak for themselves. Now I'm upset because they're squeezing us out so that they can shine the light on this poor man, this victim who needs help. We don't talk about the 12-year-old boy who was chased up the street into a convenience store, down into the corner, and had his hair ripped out and eaten on camera. So I'm so upset that I can't talk about these things, and I have to sit there and listen to these hearings about how this poor man is doing everything he can to contribute to society and get going again. So I'm trying to think of a way how I can write that into my next statement without getting it redacted about this 12-year-old boy having his hair ripped out, because this needs to be reminded to these people who are making these decisions. This review board, they were discussing a complete discharge of Mr. Dallas Ritchie, which would mean that there's no more of these review board hearings. There's no more team that checks in with him. He's no longer required to go to his appointments where he's injected with his meds so that he can't fool us into thinking he's taking any meds. So the shock to get into the trial and to hear them discuss, to even say the words about a complete discharge after only 2 years. Today marks 2 years since this happened, and they want to let him go without anything into our community. So that's, well, he's already in our community, just so you know. There is a little bit of relief that I feel. I don't know what this will mean if at the review board in a year, if they do agree to a complete discharge. I don't know what this will mean, but one of the lawyers, now she's not my lawyer, she's just the lawyer for the people that's fair for everybody. She said that there is somebody here in Grand Prairie, I don't know the name of the role of this person, but this person says that for as long as this man is in our community, he will be under watch. So whether he's released, as far as the review board is concerned, whoever's in town here says our jurisdiction is going to watch him. And to me, that goes back to the police reports and my own encounter with all the police officers telling me that this man was a danger to society and that he was going to hurt someone. They all knew him. They're well known to him. They knew of this man already, and that he had, he was known for his violence. So, and past violence was even discussed in this hearing. So, you know, there's history to consider. Yeah, this poor man is suffering because his medication is causing him hair loss. I'm so weeping for this poor victim. This is a good point that, so this psychiatrist who watches, or she doesn't watch him, she checks in with him. She's like the one who talk, and all of these meetings, like she has all the say all, like she's, you know, the top of the top doctors for this guy. And she's supposed to meet with this guy to evaluate him, right? Well, she says that she only meets with him every 6 to 8 weeks through telehealth. So that's what I'm doing with you right now. I may have mentioned this before, but this irks me because I have to go to appointments. I have to go to counseling. I have to take my son to appointments. I try to go for massage therapy on my scars, and you know, all these things take me away from work, from life, from, you know, comforts of home where he gets to stay, you know, in his jammies and log in with his bowl of ice cream and say, yeah, life is great. Mom gave me chocolate this morning. Where I am put through the stressors of actually going to an appointment, and I'm not the one who's being evaluated for my safety in the community. So this really irks me, and I very much thank the lawyer who asked this doctor, how much she actually meets with him, and her admission to over the screen, I was grateful that the lawyer pointed out that perhaps this isn't a great way to get a good gauge of this man. I would sure put a lot more to it. I mean, I have to get kids loaded up and into the car and drive to the appointment or find childcare, find parking, going through, the weather, in and out. You stub your toe, stub my finger or whatever. So by the time I get to my appointment, I've been through a lot. You're going to see a lot of my actual character rather than if I just sit down in my own home and log in. So I don't like that. He knows that he will have to tell future relationships about what has happened in his past, but I'm quite curious about whether or not he's obligated to tell his classmates or his employer or his coworkers or anything like that. I would certainly want to know if someone like this is working beside me and that is now turned into something for me. I don't know who's next to me. I don't know if 2 years ago you stabbed a woman in front of her children. I don't know. They walk around with us because they live in a different reality and we just have to accept it because these poor people need help and they want to contribute to society. It's about this time 2 years ago that I was released from the hospital with many, 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 many stitches. It was 2 years ago today at 12:08 that I snapped this photo of my son and his friend sitting there eating their lunch with that cupcake. You can see he already licked all the frosting off it. And I'm glad he did because he never got the chance to eat that cupcake. At the moment I took this photo, just outside the wall, right here, he was in process of breaking in, pushing in through that gate that was never used and shut. And by the time I got up to investigate what the noise was, the boys had jumped down from the table and they went to watch The Grinch on the TV, and our assailant was standing just outside this window. These dishes up here on the counter here, I used those to smash them on his head near the end of the fight because he had me pinned up on the sink and I couldn't get away while he stabbed my face with kitchen knives. So those dishes are smashed one at a time, bang, 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 to get him to let me go. These kids stood in my blood while I sat on that sink. And they definitely remember, and they're omitting them from the impact. Because this poor man, I don't really know what else to let you know. Nothing's really changed as far as the review board results this time. He will still have to do his video check-ins, and he had requested extending his vacation time from 2 nights and 3 days to 7 days and 6 nights. My understanding is that was not approved. I never received any paperwork like I normally do after a hearing, so I don't know. I should have emailed them before I did this video, but after the hearing, I had to kind of soak into myself and digest it all, and now I need to get it out so I can move on again. And from now on, I'm keeping this diary with me to say, "Dear Review Board," and anytime that I am affected or impacted throughout this next year, I will jot it down. And when they give me 1 week to do up my statement, I'll get it typed up and see what they redact from that. I am very hurt at the way the system looks at the victims of such a violent assault. Like, unreal. So I know that there's more I'd like to say, but I can't keep my thoughts in much of an order, especially once I start digging into this stuff. And so I'm going to end with I just thank you to all my friends and family and the community around here, the gym that we joined, and now I work. Yeah, I guess that's getting into more personal details, but anyway, my son is awful proud of me, and to hear him actually say, "Mom, I'm so proud of you," I must be doing something right. So thank you, everybody. I don't really know what I expect out of this. I'm just trying to bring awareness to our system and the kind of people who we are brushing shoulders with. So I'm gonna go. Thanks, guys. I don't know how to log out, so this will be a couple seconds. Hang on.